making headlines. The President conveys heartfelt felicitations to the leaders of Islamic nations on the advent of the Islamic New Year 1446. The President urges all individuals to unite in reforming the country's affairs for the Islamic New Year. And the Homeland Security Minister announces the establishment of community-based rehabilitation for minor criminals will commence within a month.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Hello and welcome to PSM News in English with me, Mariam Shalshat. President Dr. Muhammad Muizzu conveys heartfelt felicitations to the leaders of Islamic nations on the advent of the Islamic New Year 1446. In messages sent to the leaders of Islamic nations, President Dr. Muizzu prayed that this new year usher in joy, peace and harmony for all the Islamic brothers and sisters across the world, and that Almighty's mercy and blessings be granted to those suffering. In his messages, the President also added hope that Almighty Allah bestows bountiful blessings and brings the countries together for the peace, solidarity and prosperity of the Muslim Ummah. While President Dr. Muizzu sent his well wishes commemorating the beginning of the Islamic New Year, he expressed deep concern about the unjust violence faced by our Muslim brothers and sisters in Palestine in a statement. The President emphasized the urgency of collaborative efforts of the Ummah to overcome these challenges. President Dr. Muhammad Muizzu urges everyone to unite in reforming the country's affairs for the Islamic New Year. He made these remarks in his written statement commemorating the Islamic New Year 1446.
In the statement, President Dr. Muizzu shed light on the historical significance of Prophet Muhammad's migration hijrah from Makkah to Medina and extended greetings to the citizens and all the Muslim Ummah across the globe. The President emphasized that this is the most important moment to learn lessons from the Prophet's blessed life. Furthermore, President Dr. Muizzu underscored the crucial importance of fostering unity, strengthening families, and preserving strong relationships with neighbors for the betterment of the country. The President added the economic benefits of practicing frugality and avoiding wasteful expenditure and urged all to set a New Year's resolution to support government reform measures and constructive efforts to ensure future generations' security and prosperity. In his address, he noted the past neglect, the consequences of inadequate law enforcement, and the extent of neglect in encouraging one another to do good, and urged for efforts to change the situation. In his statement, the President expressed deep concern about the unjust violence faced by Muslim brothers and sisters in Palestine, especially as the Islamic New Year approaches. He emphasized the urgency of working together as one ummah to overcome these challenges. President Dr. Muizzu concluded the statement by praying for blessings to establish a better future for the Maldives, adding that the government will continue to exert maximum efforts to achieve this overarching goal.
Minister of Homeland Security and Technology Ali Hussain announces the establishment of community-based rehabilitation for minor criminals will commence within a month. The minister made this statement during a meeting of the Parliamentary Committee on Security Services.
Speaking at the meeting, Minister Ihsan noted that individuals imprisoned without a permanent solution to the problems within the prisons are often exposed to further criminal activity. To address this, the government has decided to implement community-based rehabilitation for minor offenders. He noted discussions have been held with the Maldives Correctional Service, MCS, and island councils, and the rehabilitation work will begin within a month. Minister Ihsan also stated that the ministry is working on granting amnesty to those who have committed minor crimes through clemency. He highlighted that it is not in the government's best interest to keep foreigners in prisons at the expense of the state if they have not violated the rights of another citizen, and the ministry is seeking a solution for this issue. Previously, the government had mentioned that the age of the criminal responsibility should be reduced from 15 to 12 years. The government has clarified that this reduction is not intended to punish children, but to provide them with the best treatment and support required. In line with this, President Dr. Muhammad Muiz, following the recommendation of his cabinet ministers, announced the administration's decision to establish a reform rehabilitation center named Long-Term Residential Care Facility. This center will provide necessary treatment and correctional programs for children at risk of committing crimes. The decision was reached after thorough discussions on a proposal presented by Minister Ali Ihsan at the latest cabinet meeting. The proposal outlines the establishment of a long-term residential care facility situated on an uninhabited island in accordance with the Juvenile Justice Act. The envisioned facility aims to offer specialized treatment and unwavering support to children at risk of juvenile delinquency and those experiencing circumstances that may lead to such behavior. The proposal also provides a detailed outline of the recommended facilities and programs to be implemented within the center.
Ministry of Homeland Security and Technology decides to rank the agencies that bring in expatriates to ensure a proper system and address the problem of illegal expatriates. The government is working towards a comprehensive solution to regularize illegal immigrants and prevent them from illegally operating local businesses in Maldives. In a program aired on PSMNEWS, Deputy Minister Ashraf Mohammad Ali emphasized that solving the issue of illegal immigrants requires addressing all related problems simultaneously. He highlighted that strengthening the agencies responsible for bringing immigrant workers to the country is a crucial step in this process. Ashraf stated that the ministry will rank agency operators through a robust system to ensure they provide honest and quality services. He noted that ranking these agencies and developing a strong system will help stop the smuggling of immigrants. Ministry of Homeland Security has reported numerous cases of immigrants being illegally smuggled into the country and then left to fend for themselves without any responsible party. According to the Constitution, foreign workers can only be brought into the country if there are available vacancies and they are eligible for the work through relevant agencies. However, instances of immigrants bypassing these regulations have been reported. Minister of Transport and Civil Aviation Mohammad Amin confirms the Hanimadu International Airport project is progressing as scheduled. He made the statement after visiting the airport to inspect the progress of the ongoing works.
The redevelopment project managed by Regional Airports Company Limited (RACL) was launched in January 2023. According to RACL's Managing Director Ahmad Mubin, the development of Hanimadu International Airport is expected to be completed by March 2025. The new runway's development is fully completed and set to open for operations on June 23rd. The airport development includes the construction of a 2.46-kilometer runway, enabling larger aircraft such as Airbus A320 and Boeing 737s to land. The first step was establishing a new 2,465-meter runway. Due to land constraints, only 1,200 meters of the new runway and the previous runway were put into operations on January 28, 2024, after the completion of the initial phase. With the remaining 1,200 meters now completed, efforts are underway to prepare the runway for flight operations. RACL has stated that all final preparations are ongoing to officially open the airport. Once fully developed, the airport will have the capacity to cater 1.5 million passengers annually and operate 24 hours a day. The Hanimadu International Airport development is closely linked with the tourism industry and the economy of the atoll, promising significant regional benefits upon completion.
Ministry of Fisheries and Ocean Resources states it has issued a total of $64.7 million to the fishermen so far. The government has been exerting several efforts to resolve the challenges faced by fishermen sustainably. Although the previous administration owed fishermen a significant outstanding amount of funds to the fishermen, The government has now completed the provision of all the funds to the fishermen. The government has now decided to commit to submit payments within 48 hours of fish processing. The ministry disclosed $64.7 million has been paid to the fishermen, adding that this was the portion allocated to be paid by June 27th. Meanwhile, the Maldives Industrial Fisheries Company has been exerting several efforts and implementing measures to address the issue of delaying payments. As such, MIFCO has decided to purchase fish from fishermen at a weekly price based on the price of fish in the global markets and the cost of exporting the fish. The company stated it will be announcing the prices of the fish weekly. Additionally, efforts are underway by the company to strengthen the company's management, boost the revenue and reduce the expenditures. Furthermore, MIFCO stated as the cost of buying, processing and selling fish are significantly higher than the income received after selling fish in the international market, additional funds required by the company are covered by loan schemes and the government's assistance. Controller of Immigration Mohammed Shamman states that the highest priority of the Maldives immigration is to stop businesses conducted by illegal immigrants. He made this statement via a social media post. He emphasized that Maldives immigration is working tirelessly to solve the issue of illegal immigrants in the Maldives. He noted that the ongoing raid operation conducted in collaboration with relevant authorities will continue without interruption. The initiative, which commenced on June 29th, aims to implement the government's policies and address the issue of illegal immigrants nationwide. As part of this effort, Maldives Immigration, in collaboration with the Maldives Police Service MPS, identified and detained 8 illegal immigrants running takeaway coffee shops in Hulumale Phase 1. Managing cafes, restaurants and bakeries is among the commercial activities prohibited for expatriates. While several foreign individuals actively work in the nation, many are illegal immigrants. The government is making strategic efforts to tackle this issue and aims to expand this operation nationwide within the next year. They plan to collect information about immigrants to be easily accessed in a single database and aim to resolve the issue of illegal immigrants completely within 3 years. To combat the issue of illegal immigrants, Ministry of Homeland Security and Technology launched its special Operation Kurange. Efforts are underway by the ministry to gain the assistance of island councils. Maldives Police Service and DNR is conducting this operation in all islands without collaborative efforts would pose significant challenges. High Court of the Maldives indicates it has addressed a total of 132 cases within the first 6 months of the year. Statistics released show that this amount is less compared to the number of cases resolved within the same duration last year, with a total of 181 cases. The details of the cases the court addressed monthly are 26 cases in January, 43 cases in February, 13 cases in March, 17 in April, 13 in May and 15 cases in June. The cases include 3 familial issues, 2 cases on information commission, 25 cases regarding employment, 48 criminal cases, 1 constitutional case and 48 civil cases. While a total of 97 cases were submitted to the court during this time frame, decisions have been made to not investigate 51 cases and 75 cases have been registered in the court. The Federal Reserve says in a report to Congress that documented the steady emergence of more normal conditions in the aftermath of the health crisis, inflation is easing and the job market has returned to the tight but not overheated situation seen before the COVID-19 pandemic threw the US economy into disarray.
The Fed said in its latest monetary policy report to Congress that inflation eased notably last year and has shown modest further progress so far this year, noting that in the key area of housing services, it is likely just a matter of time before the pace of price increases settles back to where it was before the health crisis. The report noted that job market meanwhile continued to rebalance over the first half of this year, indicating that labor demand has eased as job openings have declined in many sectors of the economy, and labor supply has continued to increase, supported by a strong pace of immigration. The twice-yearly report to Congress comes ahead of 2 days of testimony by Fed Chair Jerome Powell, set for Tuesday and Wednesday, that is likely to focus on the Fed's plans for monetary policy heading into a sensitive election season. Job growth has been slowing and the unemployment rate has risen steadily from 3.5% last July to 4.1% as of June. Inflation remains around 2.6% by the Fed's preferred personal consumption expenditures price index, still regarded as elevated by policymakers, but edging towards a point where that may no longer be the case. New inflation data will be released on Thursday, and if price pressures continue easing, it may prompt Fed officials to at least open the doors to interest rate cuts as soon as September, a call Powell and his colleagues say will be based solely on the economics of the situation, not how it affects the political prospects of either party ahead of November elections.
Iran's president-elect, a relative moderate who beat a hardline rival to win election but who will likely be constrained in how much change he can effect, urged Iranians to stick with him on the difficult road ahead.
Masoud Pezeshkian, the sole moderator in the original field of 4 candidates, won Friday's runoff presidential vote against former nuclear negotiator Saeed Jalili. He will replace hardline President Ibrahim Raisi, who was killed in a helicopter crash in May. Pezeshkian, a 69-year-old cardiac surgeon, has pledged to promote a pragmatic foreign policy, ease tensions over now stalled negotiations with major powers to revive a 2015 nuclear pact and improve prospects for social liberalization and political pluralism. However, many Iranians are skeptical about his ability to fulfill his campaign promises, as Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, not the president, is the ultimate authority in the Islamic Republic. After the voting results is confirmed by a hardline election watchdog body and approved by Khamenei, Pezeshkian will take the oath of office before parliament in Tehran in the coming days. Turnout was almost 50% in Friday's vote, following historically low turnout in the first round ballot on June 28. Pezeshkian managed to win with a constituency whose score was believed to be mostly the urban middle class and young, that had been widely delusioned by years of security crackdowns that stifled any public dissent from Islamic orthodoxy. One Iranian source said Pezeshkian enjoys an insider status and close relationship with theoretic Khamenei and may be able to build bridges between factions to yield moderation but not bring about fundamental changes that many Iranians yearn for. Pezeshkian's victory lifted hopes of thaw in Iran's relations with the West that might create openings for diffusing its nuclear dispute with world powers. Commending what he called a high turnout, Khamenei congratulated Pezeshkian on his win and counseled him to continue Raisi's policies. The election coincided with escalating regional tension due to the conflicts between Israel and Iranian allies, Hamas in Gaza and Hezbollah in Lebanon, as well as increased Western pressure on Iran over its fast-advancing nuclear program. Under Iran's dual system of clerical and republican rule, the president cannot usher in any major policy shift on Iran's nuclear program or support for military groups across the Middle East, since Khamenei calls all the shots on top state matters. However, the president can influence the tone of Iran's policy, and he will be closely involved in selecting the successor to Khamenei, now 85. Backed by Iran's reformist camp led by Khatami, Pezeshkian is faithful to Iran's theoretic rule and has no intention of confronting the powerful security hawks and clerical rulers.
Two officials from the militant Islamist group says that Hamas is waiting for a response from Israel on its ceasefire proposal 5 days after it accepted a key part of a US plane aimed at ending the 9-month-old war in Gaza. The three-phase plan for the Palestinian enclave was put forward at the end of May by US President Joe Biden and is being mediated by Qatar and Egypt. It aims to end the war and free around 120 Israeli hostages being held by Hamas. Another Palestinian official with knowledge of the ceasefire deliberations said Israel was in talks with the Qataris. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said that negotiations would continue this week, but has not given any detailed timeline. Hamas, which controls Gaza, has dropped a key demand that Israel first commit to a permanent ceasefire before it would sign an agreement. A Hamas source told that instead it said it would allow negotiations to achieve that throughout the 6-week first phase. A Palestinian official close to the peace efforts has said the proposal could lead to a framework agreement if embraced by Israel and would end the war. U.S. Central Intelligence Agency Director William Burns will travel to Qatar this week for negotiations. More than 38,000 Palestinians have been killed in Israel's military onslaught, according to the Gaza health officials, and the coastal enclave has largely been reduced to rubble. The UN Agency for Palestinians, UNRWA, called the situation increasingly tragic, saying that families continue to face forced displacement, massive destruction and constant fear. Essential supplies are lacking, the heat is unbearable and diseases are spreading. Protesters took to the streets across Israel to pressure the government to reach an accord to bring back hostages still being held in Gaza. They blocked rush hour traffic at major intersections across the country, picketed politicians' houses and briefly set fires to tires on the main Tel Aviv-Jerusalem highway before police cleared the way. Meanwhile, fighting continued to rage across Gaza and North Israel came under rocket attack from Iran-backed Hezbollah in Lebanon. Air raid sirens sent residents to 24 Israeli towns running for shelter. One person was seriously wounded. Hezbollah said it had fired rockets at an army base. In Gaza, Palestinian health officials said at least 15 people were killed in separate Israeli military strikes, and tanks deepened their raids in central and northern areas of Rafah on the southern border with Egypt. Health officials there said they had recovered 3 bodies of Palestinians killed by Israeli fire in the eastern part of the city. The Israeli military said its forces had killed 30 Palestinian gunmen in Rafah during close combat and airstrikes in the past day. The Shajaya, an eastern suburb of Gaza City, the military said its forces killed several Palestinian gunmen and located weapons and explosives. The armed wings of Hamas and the Islamic Jihad said fighters attacked Israeli forces in several locations across the Gaza Strip with anti-tank rockets and mortar bombs. After so many painful 12-yard setbacks, England embraces the shootout as they beat Switzerland 5-3 on penalties after a 1 draw to reach the semi-finals of Euro 2024 and move to within a step of their first overseas final.
It was the third successive Euro 2024 quarter-final to go to extra time, 2 of them to penalties, and in the semi-final in Dortmund on Wednesday, England will face the Netherlands. In a game of few chances, Bril Embolo had put Switzerland ahead after 75 minutes with Bukayo Saka brilliantly levelling 5 minutes later. Saka, who missed England's Euro 2020 final shootout defeat by Italy, stood up again on Saturday and converted confidently in front of a wall of England fans. Gareth Southgate, who missed the decisive kick in England's Euro 1996 semi-final, threw off his usual calm demeanour to dance with the players at the end. Having reached the 1966 World Cup final and 2020 Euros final at Wembley, making it to Berlin would be England's first final away from home soil. To get there, they will almost certainly have to find more intensity and accuracy in attack than they showed on Saturday, but the confidence gained from another shootout win after decades of pain will be priceless. England came into the game on the back of 2 dire performances, And though they showed more invention and movement, there was again little end product, and with the Swiss equally cautious, there was barely a meaningful effort on goal for an hour. Switzerland had lost 3 of their 4 major tournament shootouts, while England's famously uncomfortable record was 7 defeats and 2 wins. The Swiss also lost in the quarter-finals of the last Euros in a shootout, and coach Murat Yakin said after such a performance, the team didn't deserve to be knocked out.
Chinese tech companies from industry giants to ambitious startups converges at the World AI Conference in Shanghai to showcase their latest innovations and express strong support for the country's artificial intelligence sector, even as it faces US sanctions.
According to the event organizer, more than 150 AI-related products and solutions are being exhibited at the conference, with a small number of foreign firms such as Tesla and Qualcomm joining the predominantly Chinese lineup. The conference has also served as a launchpad for some companies to introduce their latest AI products. One notable example is SenseTime, which previously focused on facial recognition technology but recently shifted its attention to generative AI following the release of ChatGPT by OpenAI in late 2022. On Friday, the company unveiled its Sense Nova 5.5, its most advanced large language model LLM, which is being touted as a rival to OpenAI GPT-4 in areas such as mathematical reasoning. Despite challenges posed by US sanctions that limit access to advanced chips, many executives at the conference expressed confidence that Chinese companies will continue to thrive in the AI sector. Zhang Ping'an, the executive in charge of Huawei's cloud computing unit, told a forum that the idea that a shortage of the most advanced artificial intelligence will hinder China's aim to be a leader in AI needs to be abandoned. Zhang expressed confidence that nobody will deny the fact that China is facing limited computing power, adding the need to abandon this viewpoint if they believe that not having the most advanced AI chips will mean that they will be unable to lead in AI. To address the lack of access to cutting-edge chips, Zhang called for more innovation in areas such as cloud computing. This was echoed by Liu Qingfang, chairman of an AI company like Huawei, which has been placed on a sanctions list that bans it from purchasing advanced chips from US companies. On the WeChat account of state-owned China News Service, Liu said in an interview, many of the LLMs developed by Chinese companies have been unable to rival OpenAI's GPT-4. Some executives, including the CEO of Chinese search engine giant Baidu, Robin Li, have urged the AI industry to shift its focus away from the development of LLMs, which require massive amounts of computing power and AI chips, and instead prioritize the adoption of AI.
And that's all we have for you right now. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more news updates. Have a good day. Goodbye.
Bahang alika me program balwa emme abe funas marhaba danwang
custom honna fudu gulige rajya tere kurangono aswata kiti shipment apply again fee
एक पुरतमा सत्य का कॉपी और मैंने अंदाजा